Hello students. So in the last class we have discussed about the basis of classification of the animal kingdom. So next we'll move on to the classification of animals. Fine. So this is a schematic representation of the classification of the animals based on the criteria: level of organization, symmetry, body cavity or the coelom, and these are the different phylums which we are going to discuss now one by one in detail. So before that, let us have a glance on the schematic representation of the classification of animal kingdom. What are the characters generally we consider for the classification of animals? Let us have a look. So in the classification of animals, first comes the kingdom. So again here, kingdom generally it is Animalia. Okay, kingdom is the Animalia. So again here, based on the level of organization. So again here we have studied three types of level of organization. One is cellular level, tissue level, organ system level. Fine. So again here in the cellular level of organization. So generally the cellular level of organization, it is exhibited by the phylum Porifera. Phylum Porifera will exhibit the cellular level of organization. Okay, so again here when it comes to symmetry, they are asymmetrical. Okay. Next comes the tissue, organ and the organ system level of organization. So again here in the tissue organ, these are the different phylums which comes under the tissue, organ and the organ system level. Fine. Next comes the symmetry. So again here in the symmetry you have studied three types. One is asymmetrical, radial symmetrical and the bilateral symmetrical. So generally poriferans, they are asymmetrical and they also exhibit the radial symmetrical. Then when it comes to the radial symmetrical, phylum Coelenterata and the Ctenophora, they exhibit the radial symmetrical. Phylum Coelenterata. Phylum Coelenterata and Ctenophora, they exhibit the radial symmetrical and they exhibit tissue or the organ system level of organization. Fine. Next, when it comes to the bilateral symmetry. So again here bilateral symmetry, all these phylums generally they exhibit the bilateral symmetry. Fine. So that's depending upon the radial symmetry and the bilateral symmetry. So next comes depending upon the body cavity or the coelom. So again here depending upon the coelom, we have studied three types. One is acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and the coelomate animals. Right, that is the depending upon the body cavity. First comes the acoelomate or the animals which do not have coelom or the coelom is absent. Where does it find? So generally Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, they are acoelomate animals. Okay. Next, pseudocoelomate. Pseudo means you already know that false coelom. So generally what happens here, the coelom is absent between the body wall and the alimentary canal. Fine, it is absent. Generally the coelom will be absent. Which phylum does it exhibit? Aschelminthes. Aschelminthes, they exhibit the pseudocoelomate. Next comes the true coelom or the coelomate animals where the body cavity is present between the body wall and the alimentary canal. So again, which are the phylums which comes under this means? One is Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, and last comes the Chordata. So all these phylums, they are coelomates, means they have got the true coelom. So again here in the chordates, we will be studying five different classes. One is fishes, reptiles, amphibians, apes and the mammals. So these are the five different classes we will be studying in the chordates. Okay. So have a glance look at here. So these are the phylums where we will be discussing in the classification of animals. First and foremost is the Porifera. Second comes the Coelenterata. Third is the Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and the Chordata. So again in Chordata, five classes are there. Fine. So this one by one we will study. So once again we will have a glance in the schematic representation. This is a clear picture where you will find easy to study the characteristic features of all these phylums. Okay. So in the kingdom, generally we are dealing with the kingdom Animalia, or generally we can also say they are the multicellular animals. So depending upon the level of organization, One is cellular level, another is the tissue organ and the organ system level. Symmetry, again symmetry, three types: asymmetrical, radial symmetrical and bilateral symmetry. Actually porifera they exhibit asymmetry or radial symmetry also sometimes. Next, radial symmetry. Generally radial symmetry it is exhibited by phylum Coelentata and the Ctenophora. And when it comes to the bilateral symmetry, all these phylums they exhibit the bilateral symmetry. Next comes, depending upon the coelom and the body cavity, there are three types. One is a coelomate, pseudocoelomate and the coelomate. So which are the phylums which comes under here means acoelomate. Platyhelminthes, they are acoelomate animals. Ascalminthes, they are pseudocoelomate. Then Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Chordata, they are coelomate animals. Okay, so this is a schematic representation. Actually it's for 5 marks and this question is asked for your assignment also, and this is the representation where you have to write for the assignment. Okay. Okay. So far we have studied the schematic representation of animal kingdom and the list of phylums. So next we'll move on to the first phylum of the animal kingdom, that is the phylum Porifera. So we'll see what are the general characteristic features of phylum Porifera in detail one by one. So phylum Porifera generally it exhibits the cellular grade of organization. Fine. So what are the criteria we are studying? In that criteria only the classification is made. Okay. So generally this phylum Porifera. So what is the grade of organization they exhibit? They exhibit the cellular grade of organization. So you already know what is cellular grade of organization. So in cellular grade of organization you will not find any development of tissues. Generally they are the primitive multicellular animals without any development of the tissue. You will not see any tissue formation in the poriferans, right? So they exhibit the cellular grade of organization. So in grade of organization, porifera they exhibit cellular grade of organization. Then what about symmetry? So generally poriferans, most of these porifera, or we commonly call it as sponges. Porifera they are also call it, we also call it as a sponges. The another name for porifera is sponges. Pore means minute pores. Porifera means fera means bearing. So generally these porifera they have got the minute pores on their body. They are pore bearing animals. Okay, or they are also called as sponges. Fine. So when it comes to the symmetry, generally the sponges they are asymmetrical animals. They exhibit asymmetry. So you already know the definition of asymmetry, right? And some of them are radial symmetry. Some they exhibit asymmetry and some of them will exhibit the radial symmetry. Okay. Third point is the body wall. So what is the body wall? So generally in case of porifera, they have got the sponges. That is they are made up of two body walls. That is one is it is made up of two layers. One is phennoderm and another one is the conoderms. In between these two layers, again we have got another cavity which is generally known as spongiocele. This you have to keep in mind. The inner gastral layer, it encloses the large cavity or the cavity which is present in the porifera. It is commonly called as spongiocele. The cavity in case of porifera it is known as spongiocele. This you have to keep in mind. Okay, next the fourth point is the skeleton system. So what type of skeleton does the poriferans are made up of? Generally in case of porifera, the skeleton it is commonly known as spicules. It is known as spicules. Sponges possess an internal skeleton. It is in the form of needle-like structures. The skeleton system it is in the form of needle-like structure which is commonly called as spicules. Again these spicules they are in the form of fibers which is known as spongin fibers. They are known as spongin fibers. Again it is made up of proteins which is known as calcareous and all etc. Okay. So that's about the skeletal system in the porifera. Next comes to another most important characteristic feature of phylum porifera is the canal system. This is the canal system. So what do you mean by canal system and what is its functions? We will see now. So canals generally here sponges they have got the water transport system. This canal system, it is also known as water transport system. Okay, so what happens here means generally the water will enter inside the body through a minute pores. The water will enter inside the body through a minute pores which is known as ostia. The pores are known as ostia. So in the poriferans, the water will enter inside through the pores called as ostia in the body wall into the central cavity, and it comes out by the opening. It is known as osculum. Osculum is an opening through which the water will comes out, and it will enter inside by the ostia and it comes out by the osculum. So this system we commonly call it as water transport system or canal system. Okay, so what do you mean by water transport system? In case of poriferans, the water will enter inside through a minute pores which are known as ostia. Okay, then it comes out by the another opening which is known as osculum. Fine. So what is the function of this water transport system? So generally, this pathway of water transport system, it is helpful for food gathering. It is helpful for food gathering, and it is helpful for the respiration, that is the exchange of gases, as well as the removal of waste, that is the excretion. Fine. First one, it helps for the gathering of food, that is the storage of food. Then it will help for the respiration, that is the exchange of gases. Then it will help for the removal of the waste, that is the nitrogenous. So these are the three important functions of this water transport system or the canal system. So this you have to keep in mind. This question separately it will be asked for 1 month. So what is the function of water transport system or the canal system? So generally the water transport system, it helps for food gathering, and another one is the respiration, that is the exchange of gas, then for the removal of the waste. Okay. So that's about the canal system or the water transport system. So these are the characteristic features of the porifera. First comes the grade of organization. You have to keep in mind, in grade of organization they exhibit cellular level of organization. In the symmetry they are having a symmetry or the radial symmetry. Next, in the body wall, so generally here they have got the specialized body cavity which is commonly known as spongicle. Then skeletal system. In case of porifera, the skeletal system is known as the spicules, and in the form of fibers it is known as the spongin fibers. Then another important characteristic feature of the porifera is the canal system or the water transport system, where in case of porifera, generally the body they have got the minute pores which are known as ostia. The water will enter inside through the ostia and it comes out by the opening which is known as the osculum, that we commonly call it as the water transport system. Then apart from this, the function of the water transport system, it has mainly three functions. One is food gathering, and the one is the respiration, and next comes the removal of the waste. Okay. So next we'll move on to the remaining characteristic features of porifera. Okay. So we'll move on to the next characteristic features of phylum porifera. So next comes the physiological aspects, that is the digestion. So generally now phylum porifera, the digestive system is intracellular. So again in the digestion I have already told you during the explanation of the criteria or the basis of classification. So again here in the digestive system, intracellular and intercellular level, that is digestion, it will take place within the cells. Intra means digestion will take place within the cells. The digestion which takes place within the cells, it is known as intracellular digestion. And another one is that is a intercellular, which takes place in the outside the cells within the digestive system, or we can also call it as the extracellular digestion. Intracellular means within the cells, extracellular means outside the cells. Outside means not outside the body, within the body only in the form of digestive system, that is known as extracellular digestion. Okay. That's about the digestive system. What about next, respiration and excretion? So you already know the definition. What do you mean by respiration? What is excretion? So how does this poriferans will function? So generally for the respiration and excretion, they don't have any specialized organs or the specialized structure or development. You will not find in case of poriferans. Instead of that, they have got a very simple mechanism, that is it is known as the diffusion. Means generally the respiration and excretion, it will take place through the body surface only, through the body surface by the simple method which is known as the diffusion. Okay. Then next comes the reproduction. So how does the poriferans will reproduce? So you already know the definition, what is reproduction, and two types of reproduction you already studied. So what about in case of porifera? Generally poriferans, they will reproduce both the method, sexual as well as the sexual. Both the type of reproduction is seen in case of the poriferans. But how do they reproduce? So generally poriferans, sexually they will reproduce by the formation of the buds. So you already know that what do you mean by asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction means it is generally seen in the primitive animals where only one organism is capable of giving birth. Okay, only one parent is involved in the reproduction. That is the body part itself. It will cut and it will grow into a new organism. You already studied. You know that. Fine. In the same way, porifera, they will reproduce asexually by the formation of buds. Then what about the sexual reproduction? It will take place by the fusion of gametes. Fine. So here two parents are included. Either it can also see in the hermaphrodite animals also sexual reproduction. Fine. It takes place by the fusion of gametes. Next comes the development. So how does the poriferans will develop? So again here in development you have studied two types. One is direct development and another one is the indirect development. So again here poriferans generally they will exhibit indirect development. So you already know what is indirect development. This is the development which will take place through the larva stage. Development which takes place through the larva stage, we commonly call it as indirect development. In the same way, poriferans, they will exhibit indirect development, and the development, it will take place through the free swimming larva, which is known as amphiblastula and parenchyma. Amphiblastula and the parenchyma. These are the two larva stages where you can see in case of the poriferans. Fine. Porifera, the development is indirect and it will take place through the larva stage, and you have to remember the larva name, Amphiblastula and the parenchyma. Fine. Next comes the most important characteristic feature of porifera is the regeneration. They have got very high degree of regeneration. What do you mean by regeneration? You already know that the regaining of the lost part of the body. Regeneration means regaining of the lost part of the body. So it is one of the unique characteristic feature. Generally it is exhibited by the sponges or the poriferans. Right? So these are the general characteristic features of the phylum Porifera. That is when it comes to the physiological aspects. So generally the digestion, it is intracellular, means it takes place within the cells. Then respiration and excretion, they don't have any specialized organs for this, so it takes place simple by the diffusion, that is generally through the body surface by diffusion. Then reproduction, it will reproduce both sexually as well as asexually. Asexually by the formation of buds and sexually by the fusion of gametes. Then development, so generally the development is indirect through larva stage. Fine, again the larvas are common, it is known as amphiblastula and parenchyma. Then they exhibit the regeneration. So these are the characteristic features, and compulsory you have to mention the examples. The examples are more important. Cycon, Spongula and the Euspongia. These are the examples for the phylum Porifera. So generally this question will be asked for 5 marks, and it is also there for the assignment. This question is there for your assignment. Write the general characteristic features of phylum Porifera. For your exams it will be asked for 5 marks. These characters you have to write. Then apart from this, here I have mentioned the classification. So generally this classification, it is not mentioned in your NCERT. Fine, it is important for your exam CET and NEET purpose. It is important. It is mentioned in the Bosco, but just you have to keep in mind the classes and the examples. So generally here Porifera, they are classified into 3 classes. One is class Calcarea, class Hexactinellida and the class Demospongia. These are the 3 classes of phylum Porifera. You have to remember the class name and the example. To which class does the example belongs? These questions will generally it will be asked for your NEET purpose. So class Calcarea, example is the Cycon, and the class Hexactinellida, example is Hyloneuma, and the class Demospongia example is the Euspongia. Fine. So these are the three classes which comes under the phylum Porifera. Is it clear? It is not mentioned in your NCERT, but just remember the names. It will be useful for your exams. Hope the phylum Porifera is clear to you. All the characters and examples you have to remember.